This is Lee Ridley. I was lucky enough to achieve 2 promotions with Scunthorpe United, but nothing compares to the joy I experience when listening to the Iron Hour podcast. Just a heads up, this podcast contains strong language, you know, the good stuff. If this isn't for you, turn off now. For the rest of you, now fucking enjoy the podcast.
Right, listeners, thanks for tuning in once again to another episode of the Iron Hour podcast. I'm your host, as always, Barra, and I'm joined by my usual panel. I'll kick off with you, first of all, published author Max Bell. How are you doing, Max?
All the better for seeing you, Barra. How's Gareth? How's Marco?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, it's quiet, so all is good. And I'm awake.
I'm good after today's news, so excited to do another pod.
Indeed, some big news coming out of the club today. We'll get to that in good time. Let's break down the game on Saturday against Curzon first of all. So we've gone 1-0 down to Curzon Ashton. They came into the game, I think they were 7th in the league, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, we went down 1-0 to them away earlier in the season in that rain-affected game. But, you know, it was just the difference. James Spencer was the difference on 34 minutes, a face we're all familiar with, I'm sure. Gareth, break that one down for me.
It was dire. That's it, it's broken
Danny?
down. No, it just wasn't. We just looked at 6s and 7s. We didn't look interested. Somebody said to me after the game, Joe, he said it was like we were a mid-table team at the end of the season, just going through the motions. And in some respects, he was right for me. You know, we just didn't seem to have that urgency. It was too slow. We had loads of set pieces, nothing came of them, and it was just a bad watch, you know, some strange substitutions.
Yeah, some really strange substitutions, I thought. Marco, obviously, you know, I think we probably were in charge for large portions of the game. Certainly in that first half, we seemed like we were the team most likely to score. And then, as Gareth just alluded to there, again, it was a set play that's undone us.
Yeah, I think we were a carbon copy of Blythe. Again, I don't think we were in any real danger in the game. And then one chance and it's a goal. And while we're not putting teams like that to the sword, we always risk that. And we're always going to be open to be exploited that way. Set pieces in particular, very worrying. Both ends. I don't think we're scoring enough, and defending we look really poor. But yeah, like I said, I don't think we looked in control. I don't think we were awful again. But like Gareth said, with the substitutions, I said before on the other podcast, I don't think it's been right since before Christmas. And there's just that urgency and like that. And it comes across as desire. And I know me and Max disagreed with a week, like saying we showed no heart or passion. And I think that's just, I'm maybe wording it wrong, but it's just coming across that way. But there's just not that punch, there's not that bite, and I just can't put my finger on it.
We'll get to the subs in a minute, but Max, there's a couple of things I want to kind of pick your brains about. The first thing I want to ask is, you know, I think a lot of us, certainly the other three of us, think we really are at risk. Every time we concede a set play, it feels like there's going to be a chance. Are you as concerned as we are with set pieces in particular, kind of like corners or free kicks from in that corner region?
I feel like that's been a thing for watching Scuddy for 20 years, if I'm being honest. That doesn't feel like a new problem. I've always felt the same with long throws, you know, even thinking back to, you know, playing Lincoln in the mid 2000s, you know, seeing somebody lining up, it still gives me a heart attack. I mean, yes, because set pieces are an equaliser. You know, there is a lot to be said at any level for a good ball in, pack the box, good routine. And even if you're a part-time side, you can very easily spend 2-3 hours a week working on good quality set pieces, defending and attacking them. And even if you have, for example, 10 men, you know, any kind of numerical advantage is eliminated in that moment. I think it's not something we've got to grasp with in certain games this season. I don't think there's any question of that. But I think, you know, I watch Man City sometimes, and I think they're vulnerable from set pieces. Unless you are that peak Tony Pulis Stoke, I think to a certain extent you're always going to be vulnerable from set pieces. But certainly in the final third, our end product has got to improve. You know, if opposition can if opposition sides can put good balls into the box, then so should we. I am sick of corners that don't beat the first man. I think in Bell's Britain it would be punishable what 5-10 years hard labour, or at least a week's wages. I would rather see set pieces beat everyone than no one. So, I hope it's something we fix between now and the end of the season, because games are decided by thin margins.
Gareth, I think we're kind of all in agreement, really, that we are vulnerable from set pieces. How would you remedy it in the short term? So for me, I'm looking at the fact, and I say this every week, but I'm looking at the fact we've got Andy Boyce on the bench, and I just don't understand why he's not playing. He's an absolute unit at the back. He wins almost every header in that area,
Grant, are we on about set pieces at the back or set pieces up top?
At the back, defensively, that's where we seem to concede a lot.
Yeah, but then Boyce is on the bench as well. He gets his heads in places.
Sorry, I did say Boyce. I don't know if.
I thought you said Butler.
Sorry, no, Boyce. There was a bit lost.
Butler.
Yeah, Butler.
No, Boyce.
He does love Butler. That's a fair assumption.
Yeah, no, it was Boyce. I said we've got Boyce on the bench.
Oh, I heard Butler.
Why is he not starting? Basically, was my question. He wins everything.
He does win everything, and I don't know why he's not starting. He was doing all right. And then, Coogan was out and he's come back in. I don't think, there's any real reason to drop Boyce. I'm trying to think what game it was that he played last.
Barnsley away, I want to say.
Was it?
He certainly came off against...
Because there was a mistake.
He came off the last 10 minutes against Peterborough Sports, didn't he? Up front.
He played... it was when we played Brackley. When they won.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it was when he played then. I thought I think he made a mistake, but I don't think it was enough to drop him personally. No. And it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I know Coogan's there and he's on good money, as we're led to believe. And I don't know what it is, but I think Boyce should play. He's one of them players that'll run through a brick wall. I feel he'll just get his head there, he'll get his body there if he has to, and he might not be finesse, but. He does what he does. And if ball needs booting out, ball will get booted out.
I hear he's a pretty handy boxer as well, actually, but possibly that's a story for another day. But Marco, how would you remedy the situation, particularly defending these set pieces? It's the first, it's the second, it's the third phases. We can't deal with it.
Yeah, I don't. The Boyce argument is definitely a good one. Although I don't think set piece aside, I don't think that's where our problems are stemming from.
Okay.
Regarding set pieces, you'd always back Boyce, but Coogan's a really physical player.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a case of just not winning headers. I think I'm pretty sure it's Andy Butler. Was he hired at Peterborough as like a set piece coach?
So this is quite interesting. So the interview earlier on when we played Peterborough Sports, there was certainly a comment from Jimmy where he said that our set piece coach was Andy Butler.
Yeah.
I have to say, as a fan, that was news to me at that point. Obviously, I know he's part of the coaching setup. I didn't realise his remit was specifically around set pieces. That was a surprise, but he that was said in an interview.
Yeah, because I remember the game last season. It was Richard Everton's debut. I can't think who it was. It wasn't Barney. I think it was the game before. But on the Humberside after, Jimmy Dean said, we've got Andy Butler in the building, who was a set piece coach. I remember him saying it, and so we need to use him. And I definitely remember that. So maybe that's there to be looked at. But like you said, like Max said, we do look vulnerable. But I feel like if we had a little bit more attacking, other teams would also come undone against us. I just don't think we're good enough in that final third regarding set pieces. And a lot of it's for delivery. So to be blaming the centre halves for not scoring many, I think would be harsh.
Of course.
But yeah, it's definitely cause for concern. Not just corner free kicks, dead ball, everything.
Okay, so Max, we've gone in probably unlucky, really, to go in 1-0 down at half-time. I certainly feel like we was the better team in that first half. But the second half was a different story for me. We huffed and we puffed and we never really looked like scoring.
So I think there's probably an argument that we as a collective probably underestimated Curzon. In that, many Iron fans will will look at the attendance table, or they'll think back to the away game at Curzon where they had, I think, fewer than 250 home fans. They're fourth in the table. Like,
Yeah.
that's not really a fluke. They're clearly very well organised. They're clearly very well coached. The fact that they've managed to get there that high in the table, despite, I believe, losing their manager earlier this season to Kings Lynn, they've kept 2 clean sheets against us. I'm not. Yeah, I'm reluctant to say that, maybe our confidence has taken a bit of a hit. There's maybe been a little bit of a hangover post Tamworth, or even post Blythe, to be honest with you. But they've done the double overs, and I think we've probably got to be careful when you're playing against good sides, even if they're good at things that we might not value as much as fast flowing, sexy football. Then, yeah, we've probably got to do better against them.
No, that's a fair point. Marco, I don't know what you thought, but did we look like scoring in that second half?
No, that second half, like Gareth said earlier, with the sort of mid-table pre-season game, it was so pedestrian. And I think that's the perfect way to describe that second half. It was just so underwhelming. The subs, I don't know if we can talk about them yet. When Danny Whitehall got took off, I mean, you're just thinking, what is going on? Again, I'm on repeat, but it's just, to me, the quality's there because we've seen we can do it time in, time out. Before Christmas, we've seen we can do it, and we're not hitting those heights anymore. And especially previously, it was just like our away form. I remember us talking, it's just a bit iffy. We can't seem to get on a roll, the same away form as we can at home. But now it's at home, it's very concerning. I know we're saying about finishing second gives us a big advantage in the playoffs, whatever, but we've been done a few times at home now. And like we mentioned on the podcast earlier, big crowds don't get results for us. So I don't think it'd be as easy as we were expecting it to be. I feel like our aim still has to be the title. I know it's a huge stretch, like nearly unimaginable.
Not even talk about it. It's gone.
I mean, the gap's 12 points. We have that one game in hand, but I think going into the Blythe game, I certainly had a lot of hope because, we've taken 1 point from the last 2 games and that gap is 6 points. Obviously, and the gap is currently 12 points, sorry. If we're taking 6 points from those 2 games, then, that gap would be down to 7 points.
I can't go. Do you want me to go full G now? If we not had wheels.
Yes. Say it.
It's true though, isn't it? If that gap was 7 points, we'd be having a very different conversation with one game in hand. But it's
now,
not.
I've seen this week teams around us, especially I read into Alfreton have renewed 3 of their key players. Tamworth, I've seen they've strengthened. So today's news, obviously, we're going to come on to that, is huge because we can sort of keep up, and I think we do need a bit of. I think the players have got a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah. Just quickly then, Gareth, before we do move on to today's news, I wanted to kind of press you a little bit on those substitutions and on what was kind of going through your mind when we needed a goal, we're 1-0 behind, we probably need 2 goals at that point because, we need to win these games. And, there's the subs are made, Alfie Beeston comes on for Danny Whitehall and we make a defensive sub as well. What was you thinking?
The thing is, Danny Whitehall's just missed that header, just put it over the bar.
Yeah.
He's had that chance there. And that's what, he's going to get chances being where he is. He is a good header of the ball.
He is.
And he should have done better with that header. Should have had at least on target. But to then take him off literally seconds after, it's like, it felt a bit like you're taking him off because he's just missed that.
It can't be though, can it?
No, it can't be, but that's what it felt like. Yeah. I know it can't be. It must have been already planned, obviously. But that's what it felt like. And then when you see Beeston coming on, you think, well, where's he going to go?
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Stick him up top to win headers like that? It's not going to happen.
That line you said last week or the week before, Marco, about, but what a 20 minutes. I mean, Beeston came on and what a 90 seconds. Like, he was sprinting around like a madman. And then he blew. I was like, what is going on?
I can't get my head around Beeston and I can't get my head around, like Max, I know Max said last week, he's been done quite unfairly because we've not actually seen him as centre mid. and I can't get my head around it at the minute. I know obviously we were affected with long COVID previously, but it looks, and I've got a lot of time for Beast, and I thought it was fantastic before obviously we started plummeting. It just doesn't look the same player.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Right, big news coming out of the club today then, Gareth. I'll go to you first. It looks like we're in a position where the transfer embargo is about to be or has been lifted. The statement was both clear and ambiguous at the same time. It certainly said it was almost imminent that the embargo will be lifted. Now, it was interesting to me that if it wasn't completely secured yet, that they would jump to announce it. So that kind of made me think it must be exceptionally close.
I would say it must be close or already done.
Yeah.
Like you say, why would they announce it and just get everyone's hopes up? And then there could be tomorrow, or actually it's not happening. So it must be done for that. But it's good news. It's what we need. It's like Marco said, Tamworth have been signing players. I think I'm trying to think of another team up top as well that signed somebody recently, quite good.
Was it Shields?
I don't know if it was Shields. I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I think Shields
it's now that we need to be signing these players. As I said as well, the players are getting too comfortable. There's nobody to, with the injuries we've had, you look at the bench and you think, is it going to change much? So if we can bring somebody in that can change a game, and I think if we are bringing people in, it needs to be somebody that knows the league for me.
Yeah. We've got some questions later on from the fans, particularly about who we would sign. So I'll just ask you to hold it there for now.
I'll shut up then.
I sound like Debbie now, don't I? Just Max, before we move on, just a quick one for you. Without really telling me who you would sign, because we will get onto that, do you think that this embargo being lifted will be enough to make a significant difference between now and the end of the season? I.e., are we more likely to get promoted now?
I think we have to be more likely by default, because even if we don't go and sign 3 or 4 great players, well, at least we're legally allowed to.
Yes.
I was really interested in Gareth's point in terms of why announcing it now and sort of, the perhaps slightly ambiguous language. I actually think the timing of the announcement is good, because probably now is, today and this week, particularly as we have no game on Tuesday. The Iron fans are in the mood for good news.
Yes.
Obviously, the action on social media was uniformly fucking awful after Saturday's loss.
Yeah.
But if you can play the news cycle well, the upside to it is, shiny, shiny. You can distract everybody. And I do think this is a good example of when good news has been put at exactly the right moment to actually potentially give, the Iron fans something else to focus on for the next 5-6 days or 2-3 weeks. So, look, we'll see. I think it's been well established before that the wage bill probably is still, particularly for this level, still too high. So maybe wouldn't surprise me if we do bring in a couple of players, but it'll have to be the right financial package. And maybe 1 or 2 players, if they come in, 1 or 2 players might have to leave. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be Todd Bowley at Chelsea, is it?
No. So, Marco, literally last one before we move on. Are you still a Jimmy Dean man? Do you still think he's got enough about him and we'll get over this hump?
It's hard because I think any Iron fan on Saturday that didn't have that thought running through their head of would we be better off with somebody else, if they said they didn't have them thoughts, I think we'll be lying. But through what Jimmy has gone through at the helm and the period that he has had to manage us in really, really testing times, we need to take a step back. I know on the podcast last week we said we've got it's so shit that we've got a Tamworth. Does that make sense? If they weren't here, we could have bought a sticky patch. We could have bought a sticky patch. Yeah, and we'd still be okay. Obviously, it still wouldn't be good enough. We'd be demanding more, which I think is only right. But we'd sort of, I don't know if this is the right phrase, we'd be getting away with it. But Tamworth have left it, so we can't make a mistake, and we have. So he's really unlucky in that sense. again, I'd be lying if I said tactically, I feel like there's some decisions that leave you wondering. For example, the Danny Whitehall sub on Saturday. But after what he's been through, Jimmy Dean, no matter what, he could lose the next 5-6 of me. I feel like we have to give him the season. We have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I agree. I listen. I still rate him, mate. Like he's not a terrible manager, is he? We've had a couple, like 4 or 5 shit games, and even some of them we've managed to skank a win.
Yeah.
Now you could say, well, we've got the players to do it, but having the players and getting the results are 2 different things. We're still in second position.
It's just concerning, and I feel like you'd be wrong if you wasn't concerned. And Scunthorpe fans are right to question, and that's everything. Like what we've been through. Now everything seems to be sorted. You just want it working on the pitch as well. And I know sometimes it can be a little bit too. We sort of need to take a step back. Look where we are. We're second. If you'd have said we had a team at the start, you'd have taken it. So I feel we need to stick with him through good and through bad.
Max,
I think that's.
Sorry, go on, Gareth.
I was going to say, I think that's the nature of a fan, though, being a football fan, isn't it?
Of course it is.
When things aren't going right, you look at the manager.
Yeah.
You think, we need to change it. But that's not always the case. You know, like you say, it's a sticky patch. And as has been said, if Tamworth weren't doing so well and, you know, picking up points here, there and everywhere, would be top and big cushion. And would, you know, you'd look at it and think, well, yeah, it's just a sticky patch. But because Tamworth are up there, you're thinking manager needs going. We've lost, you know. And like we've got said as well about Curzon, they were 7th when we played them, the 4th now. But I think the week before they lost against Buxton. But before that, they'd gone on an 8-game run where they'd not been beaten. You know, so
we need to go on one, really.
Well, yeah.
Max, was you chomping at the bit there to say something?
I mean, I put my pen in the air, if that counts. I think I would want Iron fans really to remember 2 lessons. One, sacking managers when you're in the playoff spots very, very rarely works. We've done that before under previous ownership. Didn't work. You see other clubs in other leagues do it. Really, really rare that it actually does the trick. And point 2, you know, in terms of Jimmy Dean's track record, he's got a really strong track record of getting sides promoted.
He has, correct. Yeah.
5 promotions in 7 years with Peterborough Sports.
Yeah.
And if you're going to tell me that every season they were winning the league by 20 points, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to. Exactly. So when it comes to actually having a CV and being able to draw on positive experiences of getting sides through sticky patches and having them win big games in the playoffs when the margins are really fine, I think you've got to back that experience. And certainly, you know, we're not top of League One anymore. If we were in the market for a new manager tomorrow,
yeah, they won't be queuing up, would they?
Exactly, and I think it's so easy nowadays to fire off a tweet and demand perfection and think this, and you know, I would urge people to take a step back, actually look at people's track record, think about what will help us the most over the next 2.5 months.
And do you know what, Max, right? In a funny kind of way, now that I've come to terms and accepted that it's going to be the playoffs, you know, it's not going to be automatic, I'm like weirdly excited for the playoffs. Like I've already thinking, like looking at the dates and thinking I can attend both games, so that's a big tick for me. And thinking about, you know, the kids being able to experience the playoff drama and all the rest of it in a weird kind of way, without sounding like a happy clapper. Now that they accepted it and I've stopped swearing on Gareth's vlog, I'm quite excited actually. I'm looking forward to the playoffs and hoping we're going to get over the line. Right, let's
look. Oh, brutal! I was just going to say very, very, very quickly. I promise that you're right about the kids. You know, I think for me and you, probably 99 playoff promotion. I know for other people, you know, 08, 09. If you could get promoted out of any division, you would almost take the playoff.
I feel like what you two are saying now is so important. And like Barry just said about the kids, this is why we need to take a step back and realise what's happening, because we've been told hours of not getting a chance to experience that. Yeah. And I think we just need to take a step back and appreciate we're here we're competitive, and we're pissed off that we're not top of the league.
Correct. Yeah, exactly, mate. You're right. Right, let's look ahead to the next two games then. We've got two tough games, really. Two away games. Scarborough, who currently sit in 5th position, and South Shields, the Tuesday after, who currently sit in 7th. So two quite tough games coming up there, Gareth. Without going too much into it, how many points do you expect we'll take? How many points would you be happy with? And who do you think will be the better team of those two that I've mentioned there?
I'd be happy with
3 of them.
I'd be happy with 6 points. I think I think we'll get 4.
That's good.
I do think we'll get 4. I think we'll draw with Scarborough and beat South Shields.
Yeah.
And what was the other question? Point?
Who do you think will be the tougher test of the two? Who'll give us a tough game?
I think it'll be Scarborough.
Yeah.
Personally, but it's plastic pitch as well. So yeah, I don't think that that'll benefit them obviously, more so than us. But yeah, I think it will be a tough game, and also as well, I think with the we've sold the 600 tickets that we got. There'll be a big vocal backing of Scunthorpe fans there, and hopefully the players react to that in a positive way, and as well, not just that, but the fans. If it does go a bit wrong, we don't need to be getting on the backs, because I think on Saturday as well, the nervousness out from the crowd emanated onto the pitch, onto the players.
I heard you say that on the vlog, and I was really impressed with the use of the word emanated. So well done.
I've used it again.
Yeah, that's your vocabulary done.
That's it. Yeah. I'm finished now.
Patronising was that? Oh, Gareth used a big word. Well done.
Well, listen, I was surprised. He's from Armthorpe, so
there is that. Know where I'm from.
Sorry. Well, you're doing deliveries now. You're delivering clothes, I heard today. Anyway, Max, so...
Oh, you've got the brass neck to slag off Armthorpe.
I've kept my mouth shut, but Max just hit a nail on the head.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Anyway, Max, so Scarborough have taken only 1 point from their last 3 games, including a 3-0 defeat away to Chester on Saturday. So they really come into this game under not fantastic form, coupled with the fact that we head into it under indifferent form. How do you think this one shapes up?
I'll be honest. I agree with Gareth insofar as I can see us taking 4 points. I probably got the results flipped. If you look at Scarborough, I know they're 5th and they've been up in the playoffs for quite a long time this season. They've lost 12 games this season.
Yeah,
which nobody in the top 14, the top 14 has lost more than that. They've only drawn 5, which only Bishop Stortford, who are bottom, have drawn fewer games. So I'm probably the one result I wouldn't expect of Scarborough is a draw. I could see there being a reaction. I could see it maybe not being that pretty, maybe a bit of a direct, physical, nasty game. The crowd will be up for it, both sides. There'll be about 4,000 policemen there, I'm sure. But, we won under similar circumstances at Banbury. But in terms of South Shields, hey, look, if we get 6 points from those 2 games, we're back, baby.
HMS Pistol League's back, isn't it, Marco?
I've still got very bad memories of South Shields last season, so I am not predicting a Scunthorpe win up at there at any time soon. But look, if we can go to Scarborough, it would be, in a weird way, it'd be a statement win if we could get it.
Yeah.
We lost away at Chester, who were 3rd. We lost away at Curzon, who were 4th. And we lost away at Brackley, who were 6th twice. And we've got the other 2 teams in the playoffs next. We've got work to do, but if we play like we can, and we create chances in the final third, we can go to Scarborough and win.
Marco, obviously you're going to Scarborough on Saturday, unless you've bottled it.
6:59 train from Selby. Let's go.
Undignified Burke.
I'll be there, loud and proud. I might be a little bit merry if you do see me. But yeah, I'm going to surprise you here. I'm going 6 points.
Wow.
6 points, and I think we're going to run through Scarborough. What I saw there.
Sorry, was you at the same game on Saturday?
I'm telling you now. I'm gonna. what I saw at Scarborough at what was then Glanford Park, I wasn't impressed at all.
That's fine, but have you seen us at Glanford Park as well?
Yeah, but we're not at Glanford Park.
Well, that's fair enough then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine. No, I like Max said, I think there's going to be a reaction, and I think the boys are going to take it really well.
Nice.
Do you know, you say that though. I thought there'd be a reaction on Saturday from Blythe.
Yeah.
Well, it was shit.
And yeah, but you know, that's what I mean. So we expect a reaction and it doesn't come.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. I've got a good feeling.
Good.
I don't want to dwell on it, but Saturday was bad. It was one of. I know you guys, well, Marco particularly thought Blythe was really shit. Honestly, Saturday was terrible. Saturday was a bad one for me. It was like a moment of, yeah, this is bad. Like, we're not in a good way here, guys. Right, let's move on to some questions from the fans then. So, Becky kicks us off, and I'll go to you first, Gareth, if that's okay. Becky says, which position on the pitch do you personally feel needs to change the most to get us back on track? I presume that kind of means with the transfer embargo being lifted. And Dan Maris added that he thinks we need pace on the flanks and physicality in central midfield.
Yeah, definitely midfield for me. We need somebody in there who's going to get the boots stuck in, not afraid to be tackled, not afraid to put a tackle in. Yeah, because right now for me, there's not enough of it, you know, and there's too much space. We're not closing now. We need somebody snapping at heels in the midfield for me. I think that's where a lot of it comes from. A lot of the problems for me.
Fair enough. Max, she followed it up with a question saying that, you know, now the embargo has been lifted, have you seen anyone over the season that you think would be a good addition for us as a club?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sometimes a bit reluctant to, you know, you sometimes see a player who plays well against Scunny.
You haven't prepped, have you? You haven't prepped.
Look, every time I used to see Alex Pell play against Scunny in the middle of the park for Wimbledon for Cheltenham, I thought, God, there's a player. He's 6'4", he's spraying the ball about, he's really good. And then, you know, he's playing for Colchester, who are third bottom in League Two.
Yeah.
And you look at it and go, like, if he was playing like he does against us 30 times a season, well, he'd be at the top end of the championship. Look, I'll be totally honest. If we did try and reinforce in wide areas, I liked both Rushall's wingers. I thought the little number 11 and the little number 19, and I'm allowed a cop out on the names because they weren't on the back of their shirts.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I thought they were quite smart. They certainly caused Ogle problems on the right and, you know, on the left. Both full backs, both centre. But I'm not massively sure we will reinforce in wide areas, depending on how bad Roberts' hamstring injury is. But look, we'll see. We'll see what signings come in, if they do, how soon they do, if anybody leaves as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Gareth, I know you've seen Brackley a few times this season. For me, there was Cosmos Matwasa, who's like he's played on the wide and he has played. What are you laughing at? He's played out wide.
Oh, I just remember your pronunciation from the first time we were there in the FA Cup.
It was a bit worse, wasn't it? Yeah, it did start with a C.
It sounded like a curry.
Yeah, it did. But when I was giving him dogs abuse, it did start with a C, but it wasn't Cosmos. Obviously, I think we tried to sign him in the summer. I have a feeling like he was supposed to turn up for a medical and just pied us off and ended up at Brackley. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's a memory I've got.
I don't know. I've not heard that. You're on your own.
I'm right. I know.
Okay. Shall I tell you who I did like from Brackley?
Yeah, go on.
The defender, Alex Goodyear, is it? Number 5.
Yeah,
when we played him, he scored the goal. He got his head on everything. Yeah. Absolutely everything.
Decent player. The other one that sticks in my mind, and I did speak about him on the pod multiple times, was Sam Minahan at Buxton.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that effectively the 3 times we played him this season, that's including the one that was abandoned, he's done a job on us 3 times, particularly the home game where we lost 3-0. I think he scored, and he had Cam Wilson on string that day. Like he was just pulling him all over. He's actually only 29, which really surprised me when I looked at that today, because he does look a little bit older. I feel like he's a really tough right back to get past, but surprisingly good going forward. Like, he does offer you quite a lot offensively. So he would have been my player. So, yeah. Paul Smithson asks if we think there'll be any new players in this week and if we had any kind of inkling who that might be. Marco, you can jump in.
Oh, so point A, I think there will be somebody through the door. Purely going off Michelle's cryptic tweet tonight, which is great to see. It's great to see them sort of having a bit of fun after what they've been up to the last few weeks.
Yeah,
they deserve it. So I'm all for that. So it does seem like there might be some heads through the door. Do I know who we are? No. Otherwise, I would be getting them printed on the back of my shirt already.
Yeah,
because they are very welcome. But no, I think there will be some heads through the door, and I think they're very much needed.
Just a shout out to Callum Brickliffe, who asked a very similar question, but I think we've covered that now. Max, I'll go to you next. This one comes from Stephen Howe, and he asks if it's just free agents we can sign now outside of the window, or does that not apply to the National League? If you want me to jump in, I can, but I'm sure you've got
no. My understanding of the legal situation is that the lack of window, or if there are dates to change of window, goes to the purchasing buying club. So, for example, you've seen clubs in Saudi Arabia buying players from
correct
Western leagues when it's in their window. So we could go and get a player on loan from a League Two club, or
Yeah, I think he maybe does. Yeah, I think it's maybe that he doesn't realise that we can effectively sign players until the 31st of March. So that's the latest date for registering a player in non-league. Obviously, if we was in League Two, there's the summer and then the January transfer windows. But no, in non-league, you can sign a player at any point in the season up until the 31st of March. So it's basically the last 3-4 weeks you're not eligible to sign a player. So that still gives us 5-6 weeks to get somebody through the door. But of course, we would need to sign somebody quickly for it really to reap a benefit. The last question comes from Stuart Moore, and there's quite a lot of questions rolled into one. So, Gareth, I'll go to you first. And this says, how do you feel Jimmy feels with all the abuse he's received from some supporters? At the end of the day, we're second in the table. The club are in debt. He showed loyalty whilst not being paid. Why do we have such a toxic environment over managers? And then the second half, I'll probably come to Max, but do we think this is the same at every other club? So
yeah,
Gareth, just kick us off.
I do think it's the same at every other club. Like I said earlier, it's what fans do. They want to be winning all the time, and the person that gets it ultimately is the manager. That's who they vent the frustration at. He'll be hurting. It's like you said, he's being said before. He's done bits where he's not been getting paid. He's stuck with the club. He speaks highly of the club and the fan base. So for him to be getting booed or the players getting booed, he'll take that personally.
Yeah.
And I know he reads media and watches the vlogs, and he'll probably listen to these podcasts as well.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, but I do.
That's one.
Listen, if you are, I'm still backing you, Jimmy.
I do think it would have hurt him. Yeah. He's gone off down the tunnel afterwards.
Yeah.
Not come onto the pitch, which, I put a tweet out saying that he should have done. Just put his hands up, acknowledge the fans. Some fans would have respected that more. But it's his prerogative at the end of the day, what he does and how he does it. And, obviously he knew the embargo was up and he's just gone down to get onto the blower to get some players in.
You're a cheeky chappy. You're a cheeky chappy, Gary.
Yeah, no, I think it would have hurt him. And hopefully he takes it on the chin and moves on. And it's character building, shall we call it?
If we're okay, guys, can we move on to the next segment so we have a quiz lined up?
Do it.
Something you wanted to add there, Max? I could see you. You're always eager to jump in.
But I'm also eager to win the quiz. So I'm very much caught between a rock and a hard place here, Farrell.
Okay, right. We'll crack on. So as always, I encourage you guys to play along at home. We've got 2 rounds today. We've got a first round dedicated to the 13-14 season, and the second round is dedicated to the current season. So the first round, who wants to kick us off? Who wants to put their head above the parapet?
Think it was Max.
Yeah. Okay, Max. That's fine.
Underrated season. Come at me.
Okay. So, Max, who was our first away game of the 13-14 season? Who were we playing in our first away game of the 13-14 season? As always, there is multiple choice available should you require.
Give me multiple choice so I can use the fact that people are playing along at home as a cop out for the fact that I'm panicking.
Okay, so as always, I will name them in random order. So do not read into the fact who I'm reading first or second or third. It is complete random order. Okay. So the three options are Bristol Rovers.
He's in my head already.
So Bristol Rovers, Burton Albion, or AFC Wimbledon. They are your three choices.
AFC Wimbledon was early. We lost 3-2, having been 2-0 up at half time. At which point, I believe the supporters were busted them down and turned up at half time, which spun up 2-0 up. Thought this is jackpot, and then we lost 3-2. I don't believe that was the first away game. No, I thought that was more towards the end of August. And the other two were Bristol Rovers and Burton. Were the other two choices?
Yes, yeah.
So
this is the quick fire round.
It's a shame because the first game was Mansfield, but that was at home. So on that basis, I will go for Bristol Rovers.
Is the correct answer. Congratulations. Yeah, it was a 0-0 draw. Gareth, I'll go to you next, and I hope you're going to get this one. So the Iron kicked off 2014, so the 1st of January 2014, with a 3-0 home win against who? As always, there are three choices up for grabs.
Oh,
should you want them?
I'll need them because my memory, as I always say, is shocking.
So your three options in no particular order are Morecambe, Oldham, and Rochdale.
I'm going to go Rochdale.
Final answer?
Yeah, final answer.
Well, now that Max is clapping you, you know it's the correct
well,
answer.
It was the final answer anyway. You know, quick fire, straight in there.
Yeah, no, you're right. Marco, one for you then. Who scored the final goal of our 13-14 season?
Oh my God!
Again, multiple choice.
We had an absolute squad that year.
So your options are Terry Hawkridge, Paddy Madden, or Dave Sayers.
It's not Paddy. I'm going to go Dave Sayers.
Is not correct. It was Terry Hawkridge.
Oh, it was.
So,
I remember that season.
I had written down. I had the right answer. Yeah.
Do you not remember? Do you not remember about that season? And it's really annoying me because I thought I'd been ready because I pretty much know the whole. We had Esaias. Etienne Esaias.
Yeah, he did score a goal.
Hell of a player.
Plymouth.
Home to Plymouth.
Yeah.
Cracking player.
So Paddy Madden got the penultimate goal of the season, and Terry Hawkridge got the final one in the 38th minute, and the game ended a 2-2 draw at home to York City. That's fine. Yeah, Max, we know that you know. That's fine. Just let the host do his talking, if that's okay. Okay, so the end of round one. Go on, mate. Get your pennies in. What are you trying to say? So Max and Gareth are tied on 1 point, and Marco propping up the rear with 0 points.
This is why you let the host do the talking, because you make a rubbish joke and you start wetting yourself.
Okay. So the next question is...
Come on, get it together, son.
The next question is to you, Max. Okay. So the question to you, Max, is where do you think the Iron are this season in terms of away games? So the away form table, what position do you think we are? Obviously, there's no multiple. I can give you 3 random positions, but they'll all be close together, so it wouldn't help you anyway.
What an outrageous question.
Do you want 3 options?
Yeah, somewhat on point of principle, yeah.
3rd, 4th, and 5th.
5th.
Incorrect. We are 3rd. Yeah. Well done, Marco. We are 3rd in the away form table. Who knew?
Well, there we go. Maybe perhaps a bit of perspective. We slacked off the away form for quite a bit this season. I mean, we're not going to be top of the home form, are we? So,
And I feel like we've played. I checked it the other day. Weirdly, we've played 2 less than the team in second.
We're behind only Tamworth and Curzon.
There we go. Yeah, I think Curzon a second, mate.
Yeah.
We're 6 points ahead, but we have got 2 games less. So potential could even be second.
Okay, so the question for you, Marco, is who do you think has the most assists for the Iron this season? Your options are Elliott, Butterfield, and Scales.
See, Butterfield's a stat king, but I think it might be Elliott. I'm going to go Elliott.
Incorrect. It's actually Scales with 5. Both Butterfield and Elliott have 4.
Fair play.
So you're out. But Gareth can win this. If Gareth gets this right, he wins. If he gets it wrong, then it goes to the tie break. So the question for you, Gareth, to win it is Andy Butler scored in the Lynx Cup this season versus Gainsborough. But what was the final score of that game?
Oh, bloody hell.
Again, multiple choice is available. The options are 5-1, 7-2, or 6-2.
5-1.
Incorrect. It was 7-2.
How was it?
Did you know that, Max?
Yeah, but no consolation.
That's fine. So
have you got a tie break?
We've got a tie break, yes. So obviously only Max and Gareth are eligible for this tie break.
Bullshit.
So to win this, before I ask the question, who would like to go first? Let's just settle that now. Or perhaps, do you know what? Actually, if you could write the answers down, I would prefer to do that. If you could write the answers down and show me them. Okay. So the question is,
I'm playing, by the way.
You can play along. The question is, how many minutes has Dion Sembi-Ferris played in the league for Scunthorpe United this season? So how many league minutes has Dion Sembi-Ferris played for the Iron this season?
Closest wins.
Closest wins. Not you, because
on Arlas's bank statement. So please don't.
Let me just get my calculator out here.
No, I've actually done it on her bank statement. So if you, there's no money in it.
Right, so Marco, what's your answer? Can I just confirm everybody has written something down?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I've got Marco's. Gareth, what's yours?
See that?
Yeah, I've got that. And Max, what's yours?
That's 159.
Got that. So the answers given by our team were 237 by Marco. Okay, so I'm just working this out. You were 176 away. Gareth went with 618. And Gareth, you were 205 minutes away. And Max, I'm not even going to bother working yours out. You finished appallingly at the bottom there. So the correct answer was 413. So that means that our winner is Gareth with just 205 minutes away.
How far was Gareth off?
He was 205.
Okay.
Oh my God, are you close? 4-1-3-2.
Don't be giving me a winner and taking it away.
No, he was too far off. So the correct answer was 4-1-3. So Max was 254 minutes away. Gareth was 205 minutes off.
What about Marco?
Yeah, you were 176 away, buddy, but unfortunately you didn't get anything else right. So that means our winner this week is Gareth. So round of applause for Gareth. Well done, buddy.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you.
So I think we've got just enough time for Hero, Idiot, and Moment of the Week. And I know this is a favourite for a lot of listeners. So as quick as we can, we've probably only got 7-8 minutes. Marco, kick me off. Who was your Hero of the Week?
Hero, I'll be annoyed if I lose this.
Okay.
So I had it in my head, but I'd actually stay awake for that stupid game of NFL. Before the game, the African Nations final was on, and Howler scored the winner. It was actually a cracking finish.
Gareth is not happy. Gareth is not happy with that.
Sorry, Gareth. This just shows how little prep there is, because I think I might have the same answer as Gareth. But even so, rightly so, because what Seb Howler has gone through these last few years, obviously battling with cancer, coming back, and if anything, getting better. For him to score the winner in the African Nation final, I think so fitting. He's my hero.
Yeah, that's who mine was as well. Look, I've got,
Okay, you've made notes. I'm really impressed.
I've-
Have you
you know,
made
I've
notes,
prepped, I've prepped.
Marco?
I
Oh,
slept through it
wow.
last week. So I thought I'd best put notes down because obviously, I copied Max the week before
Yeah.
and I thought I need to write stuff down.
So, Max, who was your hero of the week?
So it's very, very different to Marco's. Look, Marco's going to win the points. But I wanted to go for somebody a little bit left field. And my hero of the week was the manager of the Priory Pub in Scunthorpe. See, Barry's shaking his head, so I know I'm struggling.
What the hell?
Because speaking of the Super Bowl, they went until 5 o'clock in the morning showing it. And that myself and another Scunny family only stayed for the first quarter because I had work this morning. But honestly, there was a really good crowd in there. The manager of Mulligan's was in there. Old, young, light. And speaking of somebody who's I'm not a massive nightclub guy. I'm sure that shocks no one. But the thought of being able to sit in the pub, have a big fry up, watch something until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sort of gets at me. And perhaps it's a little something we're going to have to get used to for when the World Cup's in America in a couple of years' time. So yeah, manager of the Priory, great effort.
Nice. Do you know what? Mate, you can have the points. Why not? The other two aren't original, so why not, Max? You can have it. Right. Who is your idiot of the week? Marco. Is it me?
You melt. What the fuck? One, it's not a real sport, and two, it's for a pub opening late. You just give the points because a pub opened later than it should have been.
Fuck it. Why not?
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, Mr. Blobby. Right. What do you want me to do? What's the question?
Idiot of the week.
Fucking hell. Whoever suggested blue cards is my idiot of the week.
Yes, I like
An absolute melt. And we all say, it's for rule makers. No, there should be a rule in place that there are no more rules. The game isn't broke. All you're doing is making the game worse. For example, if you give a blue card, that team with a sin bin is just going to time waste for 10 minutes to get that player back on the pitch. And they've got it in red for all these players and assholes. They all are. They're all as like if they're not diving the con in the ref. They are going to exploit it to hell. Absolute idiots. Blue cards.
Yeah, I rate that. Max, who's yours?
Max will get points. He'll say drain pipes or something.
Drain pipes. So, well, to be fair, idiot of the week. I did think about saying North Lincolnshire Council for not collecting everybody's brown bin.
Oh, for God's sake!
But because Marco is already looking disappointed at me, I was going to go for an AFCON flavour, and it's my idiot of the week is Jean-Louis Gasset, who was the manager of Ivory Coast, who they sacked after the group stage, and then went on to win the whole thing. Like, when has that happened before? Imagine him sat at home going, "Oh my God, they've won the tournament. It's with my players, and I got us out of the group, but they sacked me anyway." Yeah, Jean-Louis Gasset. I'm sorry, mate, but that's got to sting.
Gareth, who's yours?
Debbie.
Ooh.
Just for taking her work phone, which I've needed, to the USA.
Right.
So other than that, just leave it there.
Okay.
It's quite ironic because that settee that Gareth's doing a pod from is where he's sleeping for next week now.
She won't hear it. She's still there. She won't hear this.
You say that, but I will clip it and send it to her on private messenger. So trust me, buddy, she is going to hear that. And on that logic, I quite clearly cannot give you the points. And they go to Marco this time, just for his passion more than anything. And I think that's the first time I've ever heard you actually speak sense, buddy. So yeah, you get the point there. Well done.
Hey, I went viral this week for being a wise man.
Oh, listen, mate, you've been viral a few times. I've heard about you. Right, idiot of the... No, we've done that. It's me. What was your moment of the week, Gareth?
The embargo being lifted.
Yes.
Just, everyone involved with that, Scunthorpe, Michelle, Lee, James, everybody.
Just
that's
do some
dealt
more
with it.
names. Go on, another name.
Rog,
Rog.
Ian, Simon,
Any
Lindsay
more?
in accounts, Andy Brown, Sam, Danny Stamp, Kev Albridge
Your
in the
boys
crowd.
have taken what? Oh, no.
No, just everybody that's been involved with that, getting the debts paid off. Stuart Moore for, raising money. Rusty for the race night. Just, everybody that's been involved. And it's a big thing for everybody, and everyone's, buzzing off it. Media's awash with happiness.
Good,
And yeah, I'll shut up.
Go on then, Max. What was your moment of the week?
So I'm going to give you a choice here, Barra, because look, Gareth has given the correct answer. The moment of the week is the Imparco. Now, do you want me to say Imparco, or do you want me to say something else for the fans?
Just do what you want, mate. You always help. You do normally. Like, when do you listen to anything I say? I've told you not to wear that outfit for 4 years, but you don't listen. Like, you know what I mean? Like my granddad, mate. Like,
What do you mean, Alf? It's just a jumper, honestly. I've got my little Irish iron top on underneath. No, me 82, 83 retro kit even. Right, on that basis, then I will not go for the Imparco because that's boring. My moment of the week would be see, this is how little prep we do. Let's go for the Super Bowl. On the basis that even on Twitter, Taylor Swift gets an absolute dog's amount of abuse for the decisions that TV broadcasters make. And I saw a clip doing around on the news this morning when she rushed onto the pitch and sort of embraced her boyfriend who was playing in it and gave him a big kiss. And I thought that was an excellent and well-deserved fuck you to the sad, lonely misogynists who've got nothing better to do than honk that in a 5-hour broadcast it cuts to an incredibly famous singer in the crowd cheering twice. I'm not a Swiftie, but I've got an 18-year-old half sister who is. She's off to see her in the summer, and I think the way in which we treat celebrities, particularly women celebrities, for not really doing anything wrong, sends a fucking rank message for the women of the future. So yeah, my moment of the week was Taylor Swift kissing her boyfriend, and I hope everybody will calm down and let her live her life now.
that's really poignant message there, Max. And I'm almost reluctant to rip into you, but did you just say Swiftie?
I'm down with the kids.
Jesus. Marco, what's your moment of the week? Marco, what's your moment of the week?
Well, Max does make a very good point. My head's gone. Max does make a good point, but mine is actually, I feel quite confident here. Me and my dad, for some reason, ended up watching German football.
Oh, wow.
My moment is Leverkusen, because what has Harry Kane got to do? I mean, he's gone to the team who a title is inevitable nearly every single year.
11 consecutive years they've won it.
And then he rocks up and it's just gone to the dogs. Xabi Alonso's doing an amazing job. And obviously he's been linked with Liverpool. And I don't think it's sort of a one-season wonder. I think he really has got them playing. And it's not the best 11. I mean, they've got Nathan Teller, who,
I know.
Like, if you'd have said he's going to win a Bundesliga title, you'd have laughed a year ago. So yeah, that's my moment. I actually enjoyed it. I hate saying that because I know you're going to thrive off it for a few weeks, but no, that's my moment.
Well, I want to give the points to Gareth, but I can't because, like, what has he got to do? Do you know, if Munich don't win a trophy this year, I think it'll be like the first time since 1847
Which
or
fills
something.
me with hope for the Euros because that's England not winning a trophy.
Oh, do you know what? I've just taken the point away from you.
Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah, go on, you can have it. 2-1, you've won. I think that's it really for this episode. We've had a good one. Just one thing to mention, the charity football match, of course, on the 25th of February we're in now, which is next week. Obviously, you can donate on that. We'll put all the information on our page. So my moment of the week and my hero of the week would have been somebody who's played in that game, and that's Kieran Robinson, who's raised a lot of money for Evie and been doing a lot of the publicity. Now, he boxed yesterday actually in Crowell, and he boxed for Riddins ABC, and he got an amazing win. It was a fantastic bout. It was such an honour of me to be emceeing for that one, and it was a really, really close contest, and he just pipped it on a split decision. So I just wanted to give a shout out to you, Kieran, because you are playing in that charity match and you are a legend.
Also, can I just mention, I saw the picture you put on Facebook of that. Fair play, I love them shorts.
Oh yes, and he was wearing Scunthorpe United shorts. Of course, we have to mention that. So yeah, right, that's it for this episode. I think hopefully we've just gone under an hour, so thank you for listening. Up the iron.
Up the iron.